My name is Rod Gear. I'm a professional musician, focusing mostly on busking these days. I've been busking for about 13 years, pretty much full time, most days of the week, depending on the weather, but mostly living around Geelong, the weather's pretty good for busking, so I'll go out probably 4, 5, occasionally 6 days a week. I find it inspiring playing music in different locations and having life move past me. All the many colours and sounds and shapes of life. I find that infuses creativity and creative ideas. So, music's something that constantly moves, and I think when you move with music, it creates a good parallel. I suppose one of the things that I first found most appealing about busking was that, it's not like if you're a jazz musician, you play sort of to a subculture of jazz musicians, or if you're a, Latin musician, same sort of thing, but when you busk out in the street, you're playing to the broadest possible demographic, which is just life. I think probably the big lesson I've learnt is the relationship between music and life, the interplay between it, like what music does to people, how it affects them. I've actually written a book on busking, and I talk about how a lot of people, in their life are going from A to B, and music has like 7 letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And so I can play all these different letters and rhythms to help break people out of that sort of rut. I call it a rut race, where you're going between just A and B all the time. The other thing, it's a sort of sentence that formed in my mind about music and art in the street, which is art is best experienced when it's least expected. And I find when people in the street, they walk around a corner and they encounter music, hopefully it's good music, good quality music, then it sort of stops them in their tracks, and they weren't expecting it, and sometimes that can be like a surprise. People love presents, they love gifts that are wrapped up. What is this? It's a surprise. So I think music at its best has those elements of spontaneity and surprise about them. The main street of Ocean Grove I really enjoy. It's typical of a lot of smaller towns. The traffic moves really slowly up the street. There's a fair amount of foot traffic. People are in a sort of chilled, relaxed space. There's a lot of retirees down at Ocean Grove, so a lot of people have time and they have money, and they love art. Where there's lots of wealth, there's often an appreciation for the arts. Generally, busking has been really good for me to get a sense that, on the whole, society has a lot of goodwill, and that art is appreciated, and having a case, full of coins at the end of the day is testimony to that. So, a lot of goodwill out there, but probably if I was to name, certainly the best financial donation I ever had was playing in Werribee. Where an Asian boy came up to me and said, God has told me to give you this money today. That's what he said to me. And anyway, he gave me the money, and it turned out to be $1,000. $20, $50 notes. So that was pretty overwhelming. That was by far the most that I'd made in one occasion. And the other thing I would say, I write a lot, and I find I'll have a musical idea and I might work on that idea and just fill it out with other ideas as I change location. I think if you're a songwriter and you're just writing in the one location all the time, sometimes you can get a little stuck creatively, and I've certainly found that. But when you're out busking, just changing your location, and I suppose with life changing in front of you, you've got a lot of material to draw from to infuse into the song that you're writing. The book also is part memoir, so what I wanted to figure out, I think as I began to write, well, a few things started to congeal as I started writing, but one of them was trying to figure out not only why I ended up busking after all these years, but why I continued to do it. I thought, well, I must enjoy it enough to continue doing it, and so I was able to trace some of those elements. I do like the freedom that music brings, and just being in the open air is preferable to playing, for me, to playing within, walled structures. So I talk about that, and but it's mostly stories of things that have happened out in the street. But if you type in 3 feet from the gutter, 2 feet from heaven, that will take you straight to buying the book. You can buy it as a digital copy, or I can mail out copies.